All right. Okay, welcome. Like I said, this is a hands-on workshop, so I'm really excited. So the intent of this series of exercises we're about to do is to build a catalog that is easy for clients to find things to say yes to, the things that you know are going to sell. You want to have those in there, but you also want to have options that are like right around them. And then we all have this like creative urge to design things and do things that are bigger than what we've done before. So we want to inspire our clients to book the show-stopping decor that we really want to do. And that's how we grow our business. And there's a few other things, obviously, upsells and showing clients what's possible through like, you know, adding other details to bring a theme to life, things like that. And so we should just kind of know our numbers as well. Like, what are the incremental ads for every event that we can do that can help grow our business 5, 15, 30% year over year? Because when you start to add these little tiny incremental add-ons and you do that for each client, you can make more money with, you want to make more money with each client, but you also want to overall like grow your sales. And so that's either getting new clients to come in and say yes to what you're selling, or adding on to existing clients who are already like, oh, okay, now that I see that that's possible, yes, I want that. So I did this baby shower 2 weekends ago, and it's nothing fancy, right? It's just like pretty basic. Like we crank this out like every weekend, right? This is our bread and butter. And the client designed this, and she and her husband did it. They're having their first baby, and she sent the link to her friend to actually pay for the baby shower. And her friend was like, "Oh, I wonder, can we put something on the backdrop?" So we added this, and then she checked out. We're like, awesome. Like the client's gonna be happy with this. Like this looks really good. But then my business partner and I went with these green things, the greenery, and we're like, oh, maybe like, that would kind of look pretty good, especially since she's already like, she's gone really styled out. And I love that she picked like a darker backdrop, which people usually don't do. People always like are choosing like whites and stuff like that, which kind of like I feel like dulls a theme. But she went all in, and these people were styled out. She was wearing like this like silk leopard dress with her baby bump. She looked so cute, right? So they were like all in on the design. And we show up with the leaves, and they're like, yeah, like, of course we want those. Like, we need those, right? So we added them on while we were there. We personally accept the final payment um, after we've completed the setup. Most people complete it before, but I like to have the option of like, oh, you want more? We can give you more. So that with that idea in mind, we're going to get started on a series of exercises so that you're not guessing about your business, you're actually looking at the details about your business. Okay. Welcome, Adriana and Nancy and Andrea. Thanks for joining. This is a bit of a hands-on workshop, so if you missed the beginning, we are about to do some activities together. Okay. So the first one is wherever you post the most. If you post consistently on your Google business profile, your Instagram, Facebook, or maybe you like are kind of bad about posting, you actually just have like a ton of photos on your phone, like literally go back like just a couple pages and screenshot the last images that you posted. Okay. The point of this is we don't want to guess what we're doing a lot of. You kind of have a gut hunch of what you're doing, but you want to know, what am I actually doing a lot of? And so in our business, we do this single tiara with the balloons like all day long. Like I said, we crank this out. I know this. And so if I just go through all of these circles are in red are a version of that, a tiara with the balloons on both sides. Like if you look, we do that literally all day long, right? The other thing we do a lot of is Cricut lettering. So we upsell the Cricut lettering for $55 almost on every single client. We also like to add little themed details. So you'll notice like the leaves, some foils. We do a lot of these, a lot of number foils. This is a, construction themed foils. These are tangerines like on a vine. There's florals in here. So we're pretty good. This is like a, what is that? A gingerbread man. Like we're pretty good about like showing the client what can be added on. And so I think like from our upsell standpoint, we're doing a good job at maxing out the item that they're buying, we need to go wider, right? Like I can just tell already, we need to be doing more multi-backdrop instead of single backdrop because we're kind of maxed out on what we can get the client to spend there. So just look through your last pictures and just see like, what are you actually getting people to buy on a consistent basis? And that'll tell us what our bread and butter is. So obviously in the Fanfaire catalog, you have your backdrops with the garland. So those are our big statement pieces for the event. Then there's balloons by the foot. So for us, we also do a lot of custom step and repeats. So those we sell balloons by the foot and the client brings their step and repeat over and over again because they have it logoed, right? So we do some of that too. And we also do these very organic garlands that are like usually 12 to 15 feet. And then number bouquets. So if I break it down for my small business, we're doing a ton of the tiaras that are cloth and wooden with on both balloons are on both sides, not single side. And then you didn't see a lot of shimmer walls there just because of the season, but at the end of the year, we did a lot of shimmer walls and greenery walls. So those are like second in line for the backdrops, but this is truly our bread and butter. We crank this out. Like I said, this is what people see. They say, I like that. I want that. Let me style it in my theme. I said for our upsells, we're doing a lot of Cricut lettering and foil numbers. And then we also, this isn't like, these are not clear front runners. It's like a smattering of things, right? These are our clear front runners that we're repeatedly selling over and over again. And then we do those number bouquets too. Even though I don't think we're very good at it, somehow we sell them. What are you guys seeing? What's your bread and butter? You can go ahead and just like shout it out. Is anything super obvious?
Mine is arches, the traditional arches for corporate events. I've been doing a lot of those.
Nice. Traditional arches. Okay.
Mine's probably a freestanding garland.
Okay. What else? I see a couple in the chat. Let's see.
Columns as well.
Garlands. We don't have a design that's consistent. Okay. If you look at your pictures, is there a certain backdrop that you tend to use, or is there a formula where you have like one large backdrop, one small backdrop, or are you mostly doing garlands of any length? Are you mostly installing freestanding garland? Okay. Okay.
Mine are usually just one backdrop. I don't have typically like the 3 or 2, just one and then a garland on the side and a small one. Like kind of like what yours look like.
Okay. Okay. I know you've been doing a lot of upsells with the daytime fireworks. You do a lot of gender reveals, so you're adding on details related to that.
And marquees, yeah.
And marquees. Okay. Okay, cool. Okay, so does everyone have a good idea of like at least one thing from each? So some of you named like just, the arch or a freestanding garland. Freestanding garland, I feel like falls in this section. Can you guys identify something that falls in the other sections too? That is like, okay, this is what I know my clients want. And so if people are not, they're not buying something from one of these sections, right? Maybe one, you're not effectively showcasing the other options, or maybe the pricing is kind of off, or maybe they continue to see that, so that's why they keep booking it. We do a lot of word of mouth referrals, and so people see those backdrops at a lot of like kids parties, right? We do that, and someone's like, oh, that's the must have at the birthday parties, right? Okay. So next, let's identify like what is your average selling price, right? Ours kind of fluctuates with the number bouquets that we'll crank out. It lowers our average selling price. Our backdrops with the garland are roughly, it depends on how many things they add on, but roughly $575 to $730, right? So that's a high ticket item that people are willing to buy over and over again. And then you might have something lower, and then we also will add on like bundles and stuff like that. But if other people will buy just like the number bouquet for like a pickup, right? So knowing roughly what your average selling price is, if we were to increase your average selling price by 5%, 10%, and I have a calculator here that I could just share with you guys too. That's a quick, you know, we know how to add 5, 10% or whatever, but we should be identifying what does 5% increase look like, or what does 20% increase look like for what I'm already doing? And what does that mean in terms of what I sell? And so for this average selling price, if I wanted to increase my sales by 5%, that's just trying to think about adding on like a jumbo number foil for every event. We're doing a good job at upselling Cricut lettering. We sell that for $55. So that is very much in the wheelhouse of like what people are willing to incrementally add on. An LED sign is easy money, right? There's no cost there. I'm just reusing it over and over again. That isn't in the 15% increase range. I think the most obvious upsell is more garland, right? And that could be significant. That could be a 20% increase or more, right? And people are going to see the difference between something kind of like more conservative versus something like wider, like built out, right? So that will show the client, like when they see it, then they decide, okay, I'm willing to spend more incrementally because I can see the effect that this will have on my event. Potentially, if you want to go into like 25% or more, you're probably adding on another item. So that could be like a party pole, like Alyssa has with the large balloon on top, and then like the fringe coming down, something like that. That's actually pretty fast to put together and pretty profitable. And then 30% could be like another backdrop panel, right? And then usually people will be comfortable with adding another backdrop panel, but we want to add on more balloons, right? So that is going to go more than 30%. Let's see. So let me just show you a quick example of what that looks like. So my business partner and I just made 3 new backdrops. I never knew I could make a backdrop, but I'm super pumped. And we made 3 for $247. And we were about to spend with shipping off of this other site. I forget what the site was called. We were about to spend like $250 for the backdrop and then another like $75, $80 for the shipping. And it was going to take 3 weeks to get here. We did that, all of that. Plus we would have had to paint it, right? That included the paint. So we got, you know, more than 2 more backdrops for free by doing it ourselves. And I'll tell you, I can tell you that could be a whole other workshop, but this is having these backdrops is a good way to just like obviously increase consumer spend. Okay. I personally don't rent out backdrops on their own. I know a lot of people who do. Alyssa, these people have bigger operations. That doesn't make sense for my business because I don't have like a huge inventory of them. I want to keep them for clients who are going to buy the balloons, right? Because there's a huge difference between making $150 on a backdrop and letting that go out versus like holding this for a client who could really spend some money. So this is kind of the range of what we're usually selling in, right? But I like to give the client the option for something that's more simple that is going to be in a more approachable price point, and they can see obviously there's a clear difference. Incrementally, it's not that much more to add on the balloons here, and it's much more of like a, you know, photo moment, right? So we all know how to do that. Now I challenge you to think through whatever your bread and butter is. Think of 2 other variations that could potentially be more interesting to the eye to show that you guys do bigger installs or more profitable. So the first thing that came to mind for me was, okay, I have this new square backdrop that I'm excited about. We crank out the chairs all day long, but we got the square one. And so now I want to show clients what are the possibilities. So these are actually all in the same price range, but it looks like a bigger event. I can add on more balloons as a bigger upsell. And it takes me less time because I'm already there to unload this thing. I'm just unloading this. I'm doing less balloons. It's less effort. So this is actually more profitable for me, right? And so this shows the client, there's more interesting to the eye, right? So I hadn't thought about placing the balloons like that, but Alyssa is getting a ton of clients who are asking for this. She did it with a couple of hers, and I saw the pictures and I was like, oh my gosh, that looks so good. Like I can totally offer that to my clients. So this is in a similar price point. The client perceives that they're getting more because they have 2 backdrops. You can't have these backdrops without lettering on there, right? I mean, you're not going to have 2 blank backdrops. You're going to need some kind of like writing on there. So it kind of like seals the deal for the Cricut upsell. And then people want to make it more interesting, make it fuller. These are just a couple mock-ups I whipped up this morning, but these are just other variations that I can do that are just like a small departure from what clients are already buying. right? Are you guys following with me here? Yeah, you can visualize it as a trim roll. Yeah. Yeah. And Nancy, I know that you do a lot of big custom things based on the space. And you're charging a much higher price point. So you want larger clients. And we'll get to you. You're doing a lot of showstoppers. Maybe to have some more consistent business, you should consider having some client faves that you can crank out to, right? Okay. All right. So do you have an idea of what these numbers are and what those things would be that you would be adding on to get to these, higher sales increases? Probably pretty similar to what I've written out here. Can you identify things like in your garage, in your storage, in your Fanfaire catalog already that are like, okay, these are items that I can, because if you just go into your Fanfaire store, florals for sure, and just flip everything to on, you'll see the things that are on and what the price is. So you can kind of tell right away, like, okay, these are all within that price range. Just suggesting florals. Florals is actually going to be more like in this range because people are going to buy a lot of florals. So I'm going to buy just one thing, right? Florals, you need to put your Cricut to better use. Yep. Okay. Okay. All right. So like I said, this is kind of the range. This is where we're usually falling. But we want to give clients something, especially when people are feeling like right now that there's uncertainty in the economy. People are going to be more scared to spend, and they're going to say, okay, what can you do that's going to achieve this look, but like not as expensive, right? So you want to have, I know it's not, not ideal to have the downsell, but you also want to make sure that you capture that client instead of them going somewhere else. Because you know how easy it is to get that repeat client and they always come to you. You want them to feel like, hey, no matter what, I'm going to find something with this business for every event. And so they know based on their price point, they're going to get what they pay for, right? You pay for this, you're getting something much bigger. You're going to pay for something more simple. It's still going to cost you, but you're going to save a couple $100 or $150 there. And then whatever is your most popular, make sure you do have the showstopper version, the bigger, more expensive version that's in your more expensive tier. Because you at least want an upsell. If the client's already doing this, you can get your past clients at least to think about going like one level up, right? Okay, and that's what I just showed you. Okay, now for the fun part, the showstoppers. So I'm sure you're following a bunch of other balloon artists online. You're looking at their stuff and you're like, oh, I love the way that looks, right? And sometimes you wonder, can I achieve that look? Like, what is it like? And usually once you have this skill, it's just like, a little bit of practice to do. Like this one, I'm like, oh my God, I love how organic this looks. This looks super cool. Will people hire me for that? So I want to put these types of designs in my store because I want clients to book that. I want to do that. I want to actually like make that come to life. That's more like the creative fulfillment that we probably all feel like, we have that creative drive, you have that itch, like, let me just try some of these things. Same with something like this, like, ooh, what if I just like thought about putting in some interesting props and like a ton of balloons and just see like if that client comes in, they like this, they book it, I'll go buy, the Eiffel Tower. The numbers, this is super popular in the UK. It's popular here too, but like this as being the statement piece. And so I rent these letters from a guy for $45 a letter and I sell them on my Fanfaire store for 90. And so I love this because I'm selling a ton of balloons. I'm making $90 on this markup and I don't have to go back. So like time-wise, this is super efficient and a big statement type of thing that I can sell. And I really haven't been pushing this at all. So now that I'm like trying to think about what other things I should be doing, I'm thinking about profit. I'm thinking about like desire of like what I like to see. And so that totally fits that. We rent out an easel. We're looking at buying some of those acrylic discs and acrylic signs to do the Cricut on those as well. That's always great for like, you know, baby showers, bridal showers, a public space where people, guests are entering in for a meal. So like at the front door, having something like that, right? So we have done a few versions of this and we do this, but this just looks better for some reason. See, I don't know if you guys follow Blow It with Bex, but she's added in these amazing florals and like, you know, this looks like a tulle butterfly type of like sash going down. It's like those things will add up. The client's never going to be able to achieve this, and this is not going to take you that much time or that much money to put together. This is Alyssa's. I love this. Like this is built on an Aeropole system. These are, you know, we've all done the ice cream cones. This is just like a more elaborate version of like the ice creams. It's so cute. Like for summer, I love that. I want to do that. I would love to like see the finished results of that. I'm sure clients would love that. I've done it. I did an ice cream party a couple years ago, and that was the picture. Like everyone was like, we love that one, like do that. And so that inspired a lot of other people to book something like that. Never done something at this scale with ice cream cones. So that looks super cool to me. And then I mean, this is very simple. Like in the UK, they do a lot of more simple designs. I think partially because like the space there, things are just smaller in Europe. But this is a lot of bang for your buck. Like this looks really good. And I know people in the US would be willing to spend a premium because this just looks so professionally done. Like if you look at that versus someone who's done the DIY strip, they're going to be like, wow, I can't achieve that. Like this looks really good. So my goal for myself for the year is to incorporate some of these really organic, detailed designs that are going to be real showstoppers. Who are some of your favorite artists, or what are some of the types of styles that you guys like? You can go ahead and just like blurt it out.
Jesus Tejeda, Blue
Yes.
Garden.
Yes. Oh my God. Did you see the recent one in Chicago?
I love his work.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah,
Oh my God.
I know. Insane. Insane. I love the idea of getting booked for something like that, but you need a crew. You need to have, like, and you can't, I mean, you can't just pull people off the street to help you. You have to have people who know what they're doing to install something
Mhm.
like that.
Oh, and Jesus is very particular too, because I did his class back in February. I did the Valentine's one with him in Alpharetta in Georgia. And he
Oh,
asked me to come help
Cool.
him, but I wasn't able to because I had the kids. But
oh,
he's in Atlanta pretty often, so I always have opportunities with him.
That is amazing. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. So okay, so taking from that, Adriana, like, do you want to incorporate some? I saw you that that
Yeah,
red
so I
wrap you
used
did, but
yeah, so I used his style to do the pink print setup, and I want to do more of it.
yeah,
So I definitely wanted that in my shop.
yeah, awesome. Yeah, I think this more feeds the artist soul than and obviously clients love it, right? But you have to be willing to you have to have clients who are willing to pay a premium because this is a lot of work, right?
Yeah, so I have a couple of like corporate contracts, and I'm at the point where I'm trying to convince them to do something more like this. They're still stuck on the standard arch and columns. Like, yes, that's super easy for me to do. Like I get the columns done in like 15 minutes, but I want to do something more artistry and they just don't think because they don't understand that it's going to be still professional looking. And there's a contract that I have in June, and I'm trying to convince her to let me do something like this.
You know, I feel like a lot of artists think that like corporate clients always want that too, but I've had luck telling them like we don't do that. I don't like that style. Like, and we will do it. Okay, we will do it. It's profitable. We'll take the business, but we don't like to do it. And so I always lead with organic, and I'm like, this is gonna look so much better. Like so Stryker, they do medical device sales. So they'll hold this conference for their surgeons, which is absurdly at 7 a.m. on a Saturday morning every year. Like, I don't understand, these surgeons like to get there early the Saturday morning on Saturday, 7 a.m. like for a conference. Like, no, but I deck it out in organic exactly in their brand colors, and then which are like pretty much goldenrod, black, white. And then we do sunflowers on the tables. So it's like, it's all coordinated. It's nice. A lot of the surgeons are men actually. But like the event coordinators are women who have an eye for, they want things that are aesthetically pleasing. Surgeons have a good attention to detail, right? And so while they are men, they still like have a good attention to detail. So things should be aesthetically pleasing and like, you see where I'm going with that?
Mhm.
Like just because it's corporate doesn't mean they want like, it almost feels like it's just a dated look, I think, with the classic decor. That is totally my opinion. But I think a lot of people would be willing if they see pictures like this to do something like that,
Okay. I just
Totally.
need to add it to my store because this June contract that I have, I'm talking it through with her, and she's just like, "No, we'll just do the columns and the arch. This is not like a kid's thing." And I'm like, "It's definitely not."
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so in your design studio, make sure that you add photos that are associated with designs that you've done so they can see. And then suggest it in collaboration mode, like, oh, like give them their columns, but like also show them what's possible,
Mhm.
like load it up in the cart, be like, yeah, 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 you can do the columns, but let me just give you some ideas of what else could look good. And then, they're like, okay, wait a minute. Man, what am I doing? Not that much more for me to get something that's like a really amazing all in one bang of a photo moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, anyone else have any things that they're dying to do? No? That creative itch is scratched? Okay, lucky
I
you.
honestly wanna try what Alyssa did with the ice cream. Like, I had this whole ice cream campaign last summer, and I
Mhm.
did some creative things, but I haven't done this arch one, but this one looks so cool.
Yeah, so fun, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So beyond the things that you normally want to do, then think about like other trends, right? What other trends could you be doing? So for me, I think this, this number thing, also a lot of my network are around my age, which is 40. Don't like to say that out loud, but this type of thing is very popular. People go really big for the 40, 30, 40, 50, right? Those big milestone birthdays. Um, Wicked, like I totally want to do a Wicked party. I've seen so many great Wicked parties out there. Um, Luckily, my 5-year-old daughter is wanting a Wicked birthday, which is coming up at the end of May. So I am going to get to do that, but I want other people to book that. I want to do variations of it. So when I do some of my designs, I'm going to think about color placement with my balloons. Making it so that I can have one side be all of the pinks versus one side being all the green. So you guys already know this, the number of colors you place on the screen or the number that clients can change, but they're changing it by color group. And so I'll divide up the colors half and half on some of my items so that I have that variation in there. So it's not just like color block clusters. It's, this is a grouping of colors and this is a grouping of colors so that as the client changes it's putting them on one side or the other. Are there any other fun trends that you guys have seen that you're like, I want to do a party like that, even for graduation or prom? Parisian stuff has been in. Anything else that you're like, oh, I really want to do that? Taylor Swift is kind of out, which is a bummer. We only did one Taylor Swift party. That was kind of fun. The murals that Allie with Charming Garland does, the murals, I'm not sure. I'm not sure I know what you mean by that. You think of things all day long and nothing now. No, totally. I know. Like you see something, it'll just come to you. You'll see something online like, oh my gosh. So start thinking through some of those trends. Okay,
I don't know if this is a trend
go ahead.
this year or if it was last year, but like Making a garland out of foils. It
Uh-huh.
seems so complicated.
And expensive and time consuming and not very profitable. I would
Okay.
be doing that. It can look cool, but yeah.
I'm just thinking for my latex clients that are that have
Allergic.
the allergy.
Mhm. Oh, okay. Using the duplets to make a large scale design. Oh, okay. Almost like yeah, I know what you mean. Um, that is a lot of work, but if you can find the client to pay for that, that is a showstopper for sure. That's like one client who wants a show-stopping piece and will be willing to pay for it for sure. Okay. Okay. The other thing we want to think about, yes, Andrea, great. The other thing we want to think about is seasonality. So sprinkling in things that are meant for the season, right? Obviously, everyone's got graduation top of mind. You can think about, holiday by holiday, like, we'll include things for Memorial Day or 4th of July. You want to have patriotic things in there, maybe some flags or whatever. But also just like, okay, you're going into bridal season, baby shower season's year round, but like we tend to get a lot of bridal showers and baby showers like in the warmer months because people want to have a party outside. So maybe that is more like a garden party, right? Maybe that's like softer colors. Maybe they're using pampas or fans or things that are just like, you know, light and airy that give like a soft vibe for an occasion like that. That's kind of more like, feminine, female oriented party. Um, let's see. And then like all wedding season, like all white, like variations in whites. You want to showcase stuff like that. And then obviously you'll suggest those things and collaborate, but being able to feature accessories that go with that, like hanging pearls or just, feathers or, the right type of chair that goes with that or pedestals, things like that, that all kind of like flow together for a look like that. Maybe you even offer like that, like, what is that? A jute rug that goes under the main photo moment, right? Things like that that are more seasonally appropriate. Like you probably wouldn't want to offer the jute rug December to February. It's like cold, it's going to get ruined. It's like a summer vibe, not a winter vibe. So it's just thinking about like the seasonality of what is coming up, and then the holidays surrounding that. Are there any holidays that you guys have had a lot of success with, or that themes that you love that you would want to try to incorporate? Back to school, maybe. And so I would think like 5 months out. I know that sounds kind of far, but people start thinking about these events, farther out. So it kind of shift your catalog to be those types of things. And as you think through those themes, like football season's coming up, those types of things, like obviously there's the duality of the two, the good and the bad witch, right? People do this type of theme for football, like, two teams against one another. So maybe there are some scenarios, like certain backdrops, that you would want to have an option where the colors are styled in two different like somewhere like two different garlands on each side, right? And maybe you want to charge more because it's like, hey, I've got to like buy all these unique products. This is like, I mean, if I'm going to sit there and like blend my shimmer walls, like that's a lot of work, right? So those are some fun ways to get other upsells or interesting things going on in your catalog. That's kind of it. I have some UK holidays. Andrew, I don't think you're from the UK. I'm not sure where you're from, but the rest of you are in the US. So do we want to revisit, and do you want me to go back? I think the most important part is having your upsells and then your adjacent upsells. Oh, you're in Georgia. Awesome. So is Adriana. So it's nice to have those adjacent upsells, right?
Wait, who's in Georgia?
Andrea Horseman's also in Georgia.
Oh, nice. Andrea, I'm gonna follow you now.
Yeah, the whole point of this is really to capture the client, right? No matter what. You don't want the client to go to somebody else. You want to protect your profit margins, and you want to be able to show them what's possible so that you can lead them to bigger, right? What other questions do you guys have as far as like designing your catalog, what to put in there? Building a catalog from scratch can be hard. Obviously, it's already broken out into the 3 sections. So if you think back to probably when you got started, you thought about like having one of those menus made that was like the garland, the arch, like there's like, you know, like 10 things on the menu that some graphic designer would do online and send to you in your brand colors, right? So something, think back through the things that actually sell, what you want to sell, what clients may consider, and then, depending upon how long you've been in business, you kind of know what sells and what people are willing to buy. And maybe there's like a few variations. So like I said, I also sell like a 12-foot garland. People buy that all day long because it's easy. Takes us 5 minutes to install. I love that because it's just like very profitable, fast. We could do tons of those over the weekend. And people will also buy a larger version of that. So here where I'm located, we don't have tons of property space. And so people's houses are kind of maximized. So a lot of people have the slider doors that open wide open. So they'll have like an indoor outdoor space for their events because they don't have a huge yard. And so they'll put it along their slider doors. And so that's a great way to like pull the party inside and out at an affordable cost. And so that could be, have a couple variations of something like that. Whenever you're suggesting in collaboration mode, I totally suggest adding in like just like little bundles around the room or like something at the front door. Those are easy upsells where the client will stop and think, and like half the time they'll say, yes, I want that, because it kind of pulls all the decor from the whole space together, even if the space is like spread over a couple rooms or whatever. So yeah, that's kind of it. I mean, now I'm gonna I'll stop recording. Does anyone have any